Let's do it. We're recording.
All right. So
this is the arrangement view. I need to turn you up some, I think.
Turn me up, turn me on, turn me loose.
Maybe not.
All right, so we're just going to riff.
Time travel.
Time travel. So it's Middle Ages time travel, right? How do you time travel?
In your mind.
And why do people want to time travel? Is it just me? I don't know if you want to time travel.
You mean go back to my childhood or what? Or just go back to ancient Greece?
No, you stay in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You just you get a whiff of memories from the past. Like
a whiff of memories from
the like a cologne, like armpit juice. Like everything you've ever thought of, it's something you thought of in the past. Likely, like armpit juice. My college roommate told me that word when I was 19, 18. And I've said it for.
Do you just want to close your eyes and go back in time in your brain?
No, well, I mean, let's talk about that. So,
dreams.
What's the attraction? Like I have I don't know. You watch a lot of TV back in the 70s and 80s, and I'm a little bit older than you. You didn't have a choice. You watched whatever's on TV every night, right? There wasn't a cell phone. There wasn't internet. There was no Netflix. You couldn't pick a movie. You didn't have money for movies, and so the primetime shows had the whole United States watching it because, like, you'd go to school the next day. Happy Days. Remember Happy Days, Fonzie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they all saw that show last night. And you all say, hey, did you see Happy Days? You see Fonzie jump over the shark?
Yeah. Right? I remember that episode.
Yeah. Well, and so back then, you'd try to find stuff you liked. Used to have Wide World Disney on Sunday night.
You looked forward to it.
And they had like Hardy Boys, and they had these two long-haired Hardy Boys guys. It was
featherback hair.
Yeah. They had the best hair on earth. What was the guy's name? Sean Cassidy.
Sounds familiar.
And I forget the other dude's name. And so, in the Hardy Boys universe, you had a safe universe, right? Like your neighbors were safe. You go to your neighbor's house, he just let you in. Hey, what's going on?
Right.
Sean Cassidy. Hey, what's going on? Making sure whatever's going on. Hey, is Joni and Chachi here?
Everything was perfect.
Right. So really, when you're time traveling, you want to make the current state perfect, right? And I get along with my neighbors. I could go over and knock on the neighbor's door. They'd let me in,
You want to go back to a time where you felt safe?
Yeah, where you didn't have to pay a mortgage. Maybe that's what it is. You didn't have to work for the man.
No responsibility.
Right. So back to tonight's topic is, I don't know if it's Middle Age time travel or is it nostalgia, right? And there's a whole industry. Like if you watch TV during the daytime, there's those old shows they play, and I guess it's retired people living at home, and they're watching Bonanza, right, or Maverick.
That's what my dad does.
That's what my mom does.
Hold on, sorry about that.
Little House on the Prairie. The Professor has a phone
7:30.
7:30.
7:30.
Good. That's good to know.
Time travel.
So those old people, and I don't want to call them old people. I mean, like senior people. That doesn't sound cool either.
Boomers.
You gotta be neutral. So retirees maybe, or I don't know. They got those shows to watch.
AARPers.
Yeah, you gotta be honest, and you get your card, man. They start sending you cards when you're 49. So
I'll send it back.
You gotta find a stamp.
Don't even open it. Return to sender.
Well, you can put it in your wallet, and you can go to cafeterias and get discounts.
Never been to a cafeteria in the past
I had one in the mall. Is it gone? Morrison's?
They also had Piccadilly.
Piccadilly, yeah.
It's gone. Yeah, that's where the new Old Navy's at. The new Old Navy's
the
there.
New Old Navy's in there?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the New Old Navy's in there. So back to time traveling. So we're trying to say, what are we really saying here?
There's never going to be a machine that you can jump into and go back in time. It's always going to happen in your head.
Yes. It's always going to be mental, right?
Maybe.
And then what's the allure? And maybe you don't have the allure, right? Maybe other people don't have the allure. Like I collect old things, antiques and stuff, or old objects, and you kind of want to see stuff from when you was growing up. Like I go to estate sales, and one estate sale had the space station thing that I had. I swear to God, I had that thing in 1970, and you could remember it, right? And you think, man, I could get that. Anyhow, somebody else bought it.
Music.
Yeah, music.
I watched the Zooropa tour or whatever, Zoo TV tour today, and I felt like I was back. I didn't really feel like I was back in time, but I had feelings of memories of when I was.
What's the songs on that album?
Lemon, The Fly, and some other ones I can't remember.
It's U2, right?
Wow, Octung Baby. Wow.
But Zooropa, they kind of went disco, didn't they?
That tour lasted 2 years.
Okay.
They had 2 albums that came out. Their first album, I guess, was Octung Baby, and that's when they started the tour. Then they took a break and recorded Zoo. But the tour was Zooropa or Zoo TV or something. I think the album
they
was
had
Zooropa.
TV behind them. Yeah. Old Bono. Now,
I totally forgot about that until I saw it and I started watching it. And then
I'm going to time travel on. I'm going to riff off of that. So when I was in college, that's when U2 Boy came out, right? You know, walk away, walk away, walk away, walk away. I will follow, right? October, the leaves are all. And so we would listen to that, and that reminds me of like 1983, 1984, streets of Morgantown.
Music is very powerful. It affects your emotions,
right? And you know, I know other people. It's older, and they play the music they grew up with, right? They get, you know. So we go to a friend of mine's dad's house, and he plays, you know, Motown from Detroit.
It's all about the good memories you have being a teenager, or 20s.
So
good memories.
So the question is, that's nice. We understand there's a market for nostalgia, right? The question is, how do you be in the now? How do you make now the good memories?
It's not going to come easy. It takes effort. You have to consciously decide to not live in the past, which everybody lives in the past. You have to consciously decide that I'm going to make now as good as back then.
Right.
But you may or may not be successful.
Like now is the good old days, right? These are the good old days. Stanley Merchant and whatever.
For teenagers, it is.
Right. So, you know, I've got relatives that are 20, right? And they're not looking back at when they were 10.
Yeah.
I don't think.
But I think also that has something to do with how quickly time passes by.
Yeah.
If you're living in the moment, time goes by a lot slower than if you're constantly thinking back in time.
There's a math equation too. Like say you're 10, so 1 year is 10% of your life, and say you're 100, and it's 1% of your life, right? So say you're 50, it's 2% of your life, 1 year.
Right.
So say you're 20, it's 5%. So it's 2 to 5%.
Time is relative inside your brain.
Yeah. Does it slow down? Did you ever read Catch-22?
No.
That's a good one.
Who wrote that?
It's a famous book. You know this. I don't know who wrote it. It's an Army book.
Kurt Vonnegut?
Somebody like that. Yeah, probably.
He wrote Slaughterhouse-Five.
And in Catch-22, it's an Army book, and one guy says, you know, if I'm doing the most miserable thing I can be doing at any given time, then time slows down. Like peeling potatoes, like KP duty, right?
Right.
So that's one way to make time slow down. You're 2 to 5%.
But it's not enjoyable.
No.
There's always a trade-off somewhere.
Like I did the stupid intermittent fasting for 60 days, right? And these 60 days have crawled.
Yeah.
February is the longest February I've ever seen.
So the secret is to find out how to make time slow down when you're having a good time.
Yeah, right. So
it never does.
Let's talk about having a good time. So every once in a while we break into a rock concert down here. Does the time go fast or slow?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It really, when you're experiencing it, it could be going by slow, but then when you remember it, you might remember the passage of time as being quicker or slower. So there's a difference in the actual experience and then the memory of the experience.
So then you get into what is real.
That's real? That's a country in the Middle East, I believe.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff like that. I mean,
is the truth out there? Everything is. I don't know if there's a firm truth out there. That's a whole nother question. So,
all the new technology that comes along in the future is going to be interacting with what's going on inside your head. There's not going to be a holodeck like in Star Trek where you go into a room. It's going to be beamed directly into your visual cortex or whatever is going on inside your head. So you will be able to leave your body while still being in your body, like a dream.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like.
There's been like there's been like books and TV shows, movies about that. And like all the houses are run down and they got this one clean van, this one like, what's the name? Like a US Express van or something like that.
Yeah.
And they TV like Comcast, and they come to your house and they wire you in, right? And you sit there and enjoy the highlight of your life, right?
Game Over. Remember that movie that came out a while back?
I don't know if I saw that one.
You log in and you're basically go into the program.
Is that Ready Player One?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Ready Player One, not Game Over.
Okay. So back to time travel, just because there's a lot to cover here, I think.
Okay.
So back to, there's 2 or 3 points. One is, does everybody want to time travel? Why do they want to time travel? You know, what does the time travel consist of? How do you do it? Are you ever successful, right? Or is it just a thought? Like, here's an example for you. Back in the 80s, you know, the heyday, right? You lived at home. Your parents took care of you. They bought the food, right? And you just had to go to school and come home and be part of the family unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to get these Stern Frost cakes. They're called Stern Frost. You come to the grocery store, and the pan's built into the box. So you fold the aluminum pan back, and you mix this shit up, sugar.
Wow.
And then you heat it up, you know, and it's like this big. It's, you know, like 6 by 11. And it's yellow cake, and it comes out, it's hot. You put the icing on, it's hot, and you just inhale that thing. Pure sugar, not good for you at all. Stern Frost cake.
Sounds delicious.
Sounds delicious.
Like a Pepperidge Farm
They
cake.
don't make them anymore. So this year, I got a friend of mine. She said, "What do you want for your birthday?" I said, "I want a Stern Frost cake." And she got a Betty Crocker versus I'm not sure who made Stern Frost. I have to look. Who's the other big brand?
Betty Crocker and Heinz, Duncan or something like that.
I don't know.
Duncan Heinz.
Yeah, Duncan Hines made. But anyhow, it didn't taste the same. Could you ever go back? So smells transport you back. I don't know if taste. I like to make my grandma's biscuits. Right, my grandma made biscuits back in the 70s, 80s, like a pan of biscuits, and it would be in a frying pan. It was big, and she'd put apple butter on it, right? And can you ever go back again? We see that a lot in conversation and songs and stuff.
I think you'll be able to go back and have the same experience. You won't be actually going back to the same place and time, but you can. I think you'll definitely be able to relive the experience.
It's called Alzheimer's.
Or dreaming.
Or dreaming, right.
Sustained dreaming.
Right.
Intentionally sustained dreaming. Or astral projection.
That's a whole other thing we need to talk about sometime is dreams, right? Like, do you have, what's it called when you have dreams that repeat? There's a name for it. Repetitive dreams.
Recurring.
Do you have recurring? I think you do.
I dream about the same places sometimes, but it's not the same things happening.
I got 2 or 3 dreams that pop up decade in and decade out. Not very often, very few. I mean, like, could be 4 or 5 years in between it. And then, like going to school, you can't find the class. Yep. You have to go back to school and repeat the whole degree again because you're
not wearing your pants.
Didn't get through the first time. That's usually, Or you have a house, and the house has a bunch of crazy hidden rooms all over.
Yeah.
That's the recurring dreams I have. And they're cool. They're familiar.
Yeah.
And they don't happen very often.
The house is symbolic of your subconscious or psyche or whatever. So different levels, like different floors.
Yeah. Or
different levels of what's going on inside your head. And then the different rooms, and the hidden rooms would be probably memories that you've forgotten about.
And this house, and I know we're off on a tangent, it's kind of like it's not built. And so you're climbing on shit and you're hanging out in space and you could fall inside this big ass house.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'll have it.
I have lots of dreams about being out in the woods and it's completely dark. I can't see anything. I'm trying to find my way through the trees and everything. And like I said, it's completely dark, and usually I'm either going after somebody or somebody's coming after me, and I can't run good. It's like it's an effort to walk.
Right.
Stuff like that. I wonder what that says.
That means you
about
got to
me.
pee.
Yeah, and then I have to wake up and I have to pee.
Yeah, it's a pee dream. I have that every 15 minutes.
I have dreams where I pee for like 10 minutes and I'm still peeing.
Oh,
I'm
you're
like,
peeing and people's around
I'm
and,
like,
and it's not coming out. Yeah. You know,
I'm just glad I woke up and my bed's not soaking wet. When that day happens, it's going to be like a turning point in my life.
It's coming. Let's talk real quick. I want to riff off the outdoor dream for a second.
Okay.
Again, back in the day, probably 26, 27. Have you ever been in the woods at night?
Mm-hmm.
Like on top of a hill. Like at my grandma's house, she had 50 acres in West Virginia. And this was after she passed on. And I'm there and I'm like, well, I'm going to climb this hill in the dark. I don't think I even had a flashlight with a friend of mine. And you get to the top of the hill and you're in this like pasture on top of the hill. It's kind of open spot. And you turn to look one way and you turn around and you think the damn trees moved when you turned around. Right? That's how crazy it is. Moonlight and stuff and think it's freaky. Like you ever look when you were a kid, did you ever look in the mirror at your face in the mirror in the dark?
Yeah.
You do it now, there's nothing there.
With the candle.
Yeah. Like when you was a kid, you look at night at your face in the dark in the mirror and just flip out. And you do it now and you're like, oh, there's the same old.
Yeah, I'm not even scared to lay in the bed at night with the lights out.
No.
I'm more afraid of what my future holds and what's under the bed.
Right. You know, I hope whoever's under the bed, I hope it's a big boy.
That's part of growing up.
So, yeah. So what's going on there? So the brain's growing up, or it just where's the fun?
It's just maturity. Your fears stop being imaginary, and you start fearing the real world.
Yeah.
Which is more terrifying.
How do I pay this bill, or how do I do this? Or what did I forget to do today at work, right?
Or what did I do wrong?
Right.
What should I have done better?
Anyhow, so back to time travel, just kind of focusing on that so do you think about stuff? Do you try to go back to your past?
I definitely think about stuff that's happened to me, but I don't really think about trying to go back there. I think it'd be nice to spend a day, but if I know what I know now and I go back in time to when I was younger, I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing.
It's more like going to, I don't know, like you and I like old buildings, right? Old buildings downtown. We like those. We think they're cool. We want to see something from the past in the year of our Lord 2020. We want to see somebody that, we want to find the hidden, I don't know, Radio Shack or whatever, building.
Yeah.
So see stuff from the past. So it's really not going back to, tapping yourself on the shoulder. Hey, you better not do what you're getting ready to do.
Right.
I'd like to go back and not do some things. Then it changed the whole course of your life.
Yep.
Anyhow, so nostalgia, we got Stranger Things on TV. I don't know if you've seen that before. It's worth checking out.
I've seen a few episodes.
Right. I don't know how nostalgia that was. Maybe the first season was good.
I couldn't get into it.
And you got, I like watching Rockford Files and looking at stuff in the 70s, and you see the old cars and you see the old clothes and stuff in the house. And
Star Trek's good.
Yeah, Star Trek's 60s, and that's kind of pushing it.
Next Generation Man.
Yeah, TNG's good. So,
I'm getting ready to watch Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
We got one more season of The Next Generation.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So maybe there is no way to get, maybe just everybody just likes what they grew up with. It's comfortable. People like what's comfortable and familiar.
Yep.
Right. And if things are going down now that aren't comfortable, probably more people shift towards the past.
The teenagers of today, when they're our age, will look back and think and look at a smartphone, and they'll have memories of being a teenager. By then we'll have,
like we played, they'll say, oh, I remember when I used to play Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember that? Or when this game came out, I did Wii dancing or whatever it is.
And every generation will think about how crappy the current generation is, and then they'll think about this generation will think about how crappy the next generation is. That's part of the comfort thing. You're not comfortable with new technology and new things going on. You're comfortable with what you lived through in your teenage years, so everything that happened after that is crappy.
And is that because you were young and full of hormones, or your parents took care of you, or things were better then? more stressed now, or
you're just learning new things?
Or it could be less people then too. Supposedly, in the 70s is 40% less people.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the question is, how do you enjoy the now? How do you get the most out of now? Right.
Just be grateful for things.
Yeah. A friend of mine says he likes to just be comfortable. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, grateful, I get. Definitely grateful. It's two different subjects.
Grateful and comfortable.
Yeah. Right. It's true. And compassionate towards other people, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's got something going on.
Just understand that everybody's going through the same crap we're going through.
Yeah.
Trying to get through the day.
All right.
Just like we are.
So we talked about how do you time travel, and you just kind of see things that are old, or you talk to people older than you that know where you're coming from.
Smells and music. A lot of people it happens accidentally. I think you could probably do a lot more if you intentionally did it. Like you set something up that would trigger certain memories. If you wanted to relive an experience, popcorn, like say you wanted to remember a certain movie, going to a movie on your first date, pop some popcorn and put that particular movie on and whatever perfume the girl was wearing. Yeah. I think you would have a lot more success in reliving that memory than just waiting for it to happen.
Here's something I did. Now check this out. I probably told you this already, but we're going to cover some previous ground here. When I was a kid, I read The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I read The Hobbit first, probably 5th, 6th grade, and then started reading Lord of the Rings 6th, 7th grade. Loved Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I probably read it 3 times in a row. And then I was a scientist kid, right? And so I got English leather cologne and soaked the book in the English leather cologne, so the book smelled like English leather. Then I had a 45 on the record player. It was a Music Box Dancer by Frank Mills. Dun, 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 whatever. And just spun that record and sniffed those pages and read that Lord of the Rings book, right? So I said, this way it'll stick in my brain.
That's pretty good.
I don't know if it stuck or not, man. I'd have to find some English leather. I don't know if they still make it. That song, I've heard it.
Did that come in like a wooden box?
Yeah.
My dad's got that wooden box at home.
Well, we got to sniff it. You got to get it over here.
Doesn't smell like anything.
Oh.
Smells like wood.
Maybe some estate sale we could find some English leather. But I think maybe I have to reread in the book. And then you see the movies and the orcs and stuff don't look the same as in your brain, right? But I did try that at like 12 years old.
That's pretty good. It was pretty smart.
Yeah.
Pretty smart for a 12-year-old.
Then I lost a lot of intelligence in my
How did you know back then that smells would... Did you read it in a magazine or somewhere?
It wasn't the internet. If I read it, it had to be...
or a book.
A book or encyclopedia or magazine. Who knows? Used to read...
Good.
Yeah. Well, did the experiment work? How would you recreate your grandma's biscuits, right? I don't know. You ask your mom how they made it, right? And eventually those people leave.
And you'd have to remember like what that Saturday morning, was it sunny outside? Was it a little cold in the house?
Yeah.
And with the smell and everything.
Right. She had one of those Hoosier cabinets and would porcelain tabletop and get the flour out and chop that stuff up. And they were poor, so they had to make something to eat that would stick to your bones.
Yeah.
Potatoes, big old biscuits. See you in
it's good stuff.
8 hours.
My granny made homemade grape juice with the grapes in the bottom. She'd use mason jars.
Really?
It had grapes, like real grapes in the bottom.
I'd like to taste that.
Awesome.
Yeah. You could try to make that.
She also made mulberry wine.
Yeah.
I didn't drink it when I was a kid, but it was good.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, you'd have to actually. I bet you could find some English leather on eBay or something. I guarantee you it would make you feel like you're back there for a few seconds.
I'd have to read the book at the same time.
Do you remember a particular passage that stuck out?
Well, Lord of the Rings, man, it's 3 books. And, when those guys were cruising across Mordor and it's nasty and it's hot, dry, they're dying. They got the limbas.
Tom Bombadil.
Yeah. Well, that was earlier, I think, in Lord of the Rings.
They cut that out.
In the movie, probably.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the book. And so maybe some of that, I don't know. I used to want to, talk about Lord of the Rings for a second here. I had an 81 Mustang, right? I used to want to transport the Mustang to Lord of the Rings land
That'd be awesome.
That'd be an awesome weapon, but you only got that one tank of gas, and there's no other fuel in
I bet you could
Middle Earth.
enchant it.
And then there's no roads, but you got a badass car in Middle Earth, blue 4-cylinder Mustang.
They would think you were a god
I'd say, I'm here for the ladies.
from the future. Actually, it wouldn't be in the future. It's an alternate reality.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm here for the I don't know which species, elves.
Elves are hot.
I probably wouldn't fool with the hobbits.
There'd be a melf. No, that would be an e-elf.
Yeah. Double elf.
Elf.
That's a good one, man.
All right.
That's a joke.
You can work that out a little bit.
Yeah. Anyhow, so I think we kind of beat the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Other things you used to do as a kid, they used to have bookstores. You ever been in a bookstore?
Mm-hmm. I used to buy books once a month.
And this bookstore, they have newspapers and magazines, and then they have used books, used paperback books in the back. I remember when comic books were 25 cents, right?
I never got into comic books. Wish I did.
They don't read that well. If you read the comic book store, you're never happy. It's like empty calories. They get in and you think something's going to happen. They just beat each other and they both go their own ways.
Wait till the next issue.
But you go in this bookstore and I like science fiction. Of course, everything you ever learned, you learned from a book back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's that book? The Joy of Sex? Yeah, I'd read that probably, 11, 12 years old.
Did you learn anything?
Everything I know came from
Nice.
that book. Yeah.
Nice.
And so you'd read old science fiction, and that's kind of cool. Like, I think I texted you this morning about that thing, and it said, "Let there be light" at the end of it. That was one I read in the 70s.
The last question.
Yeah. So,
Asimov.
right. So that's how I knew. Eric sent me this article on, the constant of the universe may not be constant everywhere. And I think what he's looking for is
Proof of God.
proof of God. And so I came back and "Let there be light" and just, nailed his argument. I don't know if he read it or not.
If
Eric,
you have to have proof, then there's no point in it.
Yeah. Well.
Gotta have faith.
You got 50 years of going to church, so that's the point. Community relations, whatever, friends,
Yeah, community,
family,
social,
yeah.
social outlet.
We'll save that discussion for
Okay,
another time.
okay.
We'll save that one.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it later.
All right, back to time travel. We talked about you wish your neighborhood was like the Hardy Boys, and you had fun. You could run around, go into house to house. It was safe. You could run around at night. Good old days.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Trick or treat.
Yeah.
Hitchhike.
Now everybody today is just detached. Everybody's loaded up on guns.
Yeah, traffic's horrendous. People drive like maniacs.
Traffic's got road rage, I guess.
No courtesy or conscientiousness.
I mean, it's probably the same thing back then, just had bigger cars.
And less people.
Yeah.
More road.
Depends on where you live.
More road. On all the things that just zoomed by over our heads that we didn't know about because we were young kids. And
that's true.
I envy my nieces because they don't have to worry about things. They just
exist.
They're just there playing with the toys and stuff and not having to worry about stuff.
Right. And then as it should be.
So there was a lot of crap back then. We just didn't know about it because we weren't aware of it.
Right. There was,
So same bills, except we had more bills.
Same bills. Nobody had any money. It's interesting.
Good times.
I'm trying to think other ways you can time travel. I guess you got songs, and we've heard the songs a million times, right? Like,
it's going to be easier for people nowadays because everything's recorded now.
Right.
Video cameras and phones
yeah.
So that's a good
point. So everything like my son did, we have on film.
Mm-hmm.
And he may not remember doing it, but he's seen the movie.
Yep.
And a lot of things you don't remember doing, but you heard about doing it so many times that you remember somebody telling you about what happened.
So you have a false memory from somebody else telling you what you did.
Right. It's just life. All right. So I'm trying to think what else we needed to cover on this subject.
It's an endless subject.
It's an endless subject. What were those 3 talking points? So does everybody want to do that? I don't know. It must be. If you look at capitalism, they're showing the old shows.
Nostalgia sells.
Yeah. They had the old TV show.
Or every generation's got a TV show about the previous generation.
Right.
which we've talked about too.
So here's a question for you. What's the earliest TV show you remember seeing?
So I'm going to stick with Captain Kangaroo.
Smoking cigarettes.
Mr. Green Jeans.
Mr. Green Jeans. I remember that one. I remember that's an old one, man. That's an early one. It seems like there was another one too. There was Mr. Rogers had that.
Howdy
Sesame
Doody.
Street.
That was before my time.
I didn't see Howdy Doody. I used to watch because my mom and dad would watch shows, and they'd watch cop shows or Wild World of Disney Sunday night.
Yeah, that was a good one. I always look forward to that.
Well, here's the problem with that one now, and I remember this, is that like when it's over, you gotta go to bed. Like, man, I don't want to go to bed.
School tomorrow.
You know, and it starts at 7, and you're like 8 o'clock. I gotta go to bed. 9 o'clock. Was the thing 1 hour or 2 hours? Wild World of Disney. Had the little elf and all that stuff.
I think it was an hour.
And
One
then
I remember.
And then they used to watch TV, and there was this old private investigator named Mannix. You never heard of Mannix?
I heard of it, never seen it.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson.
I didn't see him too much. All in the Family was on. I didn't like All in the Family. Then I like it now.
You do like it now?
It's sort of.
Because
It's
it reminds you
interesting.
of being a kid?
Well, back then, Archie's harsh, right? So when he's talking, it's like, it just kind of hurts your head when he's talking.
I didn't like Edith's voice.
Edith was a sweetheart.
Archie.
Meathead.
Meathead. And what was the girl's name?
Oh, you had to ask.
Starts with an S.
I thought it was like Olivia.
No.
Archie.
The woman, the blonde.
Oh, we're stumped.
I'll remember here in a second.
Meathead's wife.
Gloria.
Gloria. Yeah. Gloria.
Gloria.
So, what are other early? They had Love American Style. They had Love
MASH.
Boat. MASH.
That was a good show.
Seinfeld, but you're in college by that point, right?
Yeah. That came out about the same time as TNG.
I always liked science fiction. They had Night Stalker. You ever see Night Stalker?
Yeah.
That's the greatest show.
Well, I liked The Master. It was about a ninja. Lee Van Cleef. It was the ninja.
I don't think I saw it. I used to watch Kung Fu. That guy
Kung Fu Theater.
David Carradine walked across the desert barefoot.
That was good. Yeah, I like that.
And he was just tough, man. Right.
You know what else takes you back in time? Theme songs. TV shows, theme songs.
TV shows for sure.
I still whistle stuff from stuff I haven't seen since I was a kid. I'm still whistling.
So we're like you mentioned earlier, there's an audio-visual recording of everything now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, maybe it's the TV shows, maybe it's the songs. The problem is the songs, you've heard them too many times.
But that just means they're etched even deeper into your brain.
You don't like I used to listen to stuff in high school. I used to listen to Led Zeppelin and have the speakers on each side of the bed, and the bed would be spinning, with Led Zeppelin, like
That's bad.
And you heard it so many times that you can't get the original feeling again.
Or maybe you can't, since you've heard it so many times, you can't pinpoint one memory.
Right.
There's dozens, hundreds of memories.
Used to get in the back of my car and play a cassette tape like the Cars, like Life's the Same or Moving in Stereo, and that would change speakers. I'm like, that's cool, man.
Quadphonic.
Yeah, and he used to have that. Since You're Gone, the clapping.
They go to each speaker.
Yeah. But so nostalgia sells. There must be, and if you agree with me, I don't know if anybody else does, there must be some basic human instinct to want to have nostalgia. Safety, security.
It's all about safety.
Yeah.
The warmth and comfort of childhood.
Everybody wants their mama back.
Sitting around the fire in the cave.
I knew that was coming.
With a fur wrapped around
So
you.
lately I bought some video game books, trying to figure out what happened to video game arcades, right? I mean, they came in hot and heavy, 79 to 81, 82, 83. Then they kind of went out real quick.
Were they always a quarter?
Some games are more. There's no game less than a quarter.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
And nobody's willing to pay more than $1 nowadays to play a game. So that's why they went away.
They had an Asteroids Deluxe in my high school cafeteria, right? So you would get in line, lunch started 11:37, right? Your clock, you would tick it down, 11:37, you'd race out the door, get in line, get your food, scarf your food, get up, get in front of that game. I'm
surprised they would let them have that in the
I know, it was corruption, seriously. So you had to be good to stay on it because,
So you could essentially play the whole lunch break if you were good enough.
Yeah.
Nobody else could play.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But then you're looking at a screen. You're not interacting. You're not talking to your friends. You're not talking to girls. You're not building social skills. You're pounding on the machine.
I didn't do any of that, and I didn't even play again.
So let's talk about money for a second. So $50 in 1986. I looked this up recently. It's about $120, $130 today, right?
Nice.
So what's a dollar? If 50 is 120,
it'd be almost 1 to, let's say 1 to 3. So a dollar would be like $1 would be like a $2.50.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So a quarter of $2.50 is whatever, 75 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe each game back then would cost us 75 cents today.
True.
And and you don't want to have a learning curve. You throw a quarter in, it's gone.
But Atari games back then cost $20. For the game.
The game cartridge, yeah, that was big money. All that stuff was big money.
Games haven't gone up much since then.
I got contacts, and it was $80 a contact, and lost it before I got home, right? And that is a big chunk of change for the family, right? I mean, that's like $200.
Fell out of your eyeball?
First day with contacts.
You rubbed your eye the wrong way?
Right. No going back.
It probably went behind your eyeball, and it's probably still there.
Probably still there.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Time travel. Somehow spin that back around. Was it a hard contact?
No, it was soft.
Okay, yeah. My mom had the hard ones.
Yeah. Those are good. Supposedly, they're good for.
They last a long time.
Yeah. You can feel them.
Scratch your eyeball.
Right. All right, man.
Contact.
Anything else you want to cover here?
Sesame Street Electric Company.
Electric Company was good.
What was that other one? Can't remember. Just remember Contact. Let's make contact where everything's happening.
I've heard
watch that after school.
Yeah, I remember all those after school
game.
specials. Junction, what's your function? Yeah, you heard that one. I'm surprised you heard all that stuff.
Had the pinball one.
They used to have after school specials, and you come home and say, "Oh wow, I want to watch an after school special."
Yep, had a moral. I never did learn anything from that stuff.
No.
I was always like, shouldn't have done it then, buddy.
Yeah.
Should have listened to your mom. It would never happen to me.
All right, man. I think it's time for a bass interlude.
1280. All right.
All right.
And we're out.